1. The Yuba County Five. On the night of February 24th, 1978, 5 young men from Yuba City, California, drove 50 miles north to watch a college basketball game. They were known to their families simply as the Boys. Bill Starling, Jack Hewitt, Ted Weir, Jack Madruga, and Gary Mathias. They were happy. They were celebrating a win. They stopped at a market to buy snacks for the ride home. Hostess fruit pies, a Snickers bar, 2 Pepsis, and a quart of milk. They should have been home in an hour. Instead, for reasons that have terrified investigators for nearly 50 years, the driver, Jack Madruga, turned his pristine Mercury Montego away from home. He drove them deep into the Plumas National Forest, high into the snowline, far away from safety and far away from reason. When police found the car days later, it was stuck in a snowdrift, but the engine started immediately. 5 grown men could have easily pushed it free, but they didn't. They didn't even eat the snacks they had just bought. They left the candy bars on the seats. That same night, a man named Joseph Shons was stuck nearby in his own car, suffering a mild heart attack. He told police he saw lights. He saw the boy's car pull up behind him. He screamed for help, but the lights went out. He said he saw flashlights moving in the trees. He heard whistling. He called out again, and the lights vanished. The men went silent. It was as if they weren't lost. It was as if they were hiding. Months later, the snow melted. The bodies of 4 of the men were found scattered in the woods, reduced to bones by the elements and scavengers. But the discovery of Ted Weir was the most disturbing of all. He was found inside a Forest Service trailer, nearly 20 miles from the car. He had wrapped himself in a sheet, head to toe, like a shroud. Ted had lived for nearly 3 months inside that trailer. He had a locker full of military food rations, enough to feed all 5 men for a year. He had a propane tank for heat. He had matches. He touched none of it. He starved to death, losing nearly 100 pounds while lying in a bed surrounded by food and fuel. Why didn't he eat? Why didn't he turn on the heat? And where is the 5th man, Gary Mathias, whose body has never been found? To this day, the evidence suggests that the Yuba County Five weren't killed by the cold. They were killed by fear. They sat in the dark, starving and freezing, terrified of something outside that trailer, something that wouldn't let them leave. Story 2. The Silent Family. In October 2009, the Jamison family, Bobby, Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison, were looking for a fresh start. They planned to buy a 40-acre plot of land in the isolated Sans Bois Mountains of Oklahoma. They were a normal, loving family, but the security cameras outside their home captured a final image of them that defies explanation. On the day they left, the footage shows Bobby and Sherilyn walking back and forth between their house and their truck. They aren't speaking. They aren't rushing. They are moving slow. Experts who analysed the video say they appear in a trance-like state. They load items into the truck and then take them back out. They stop and stare into the distance for no apparent reason. They look like sleepwalkers, or or as some investigators described them, like zombies. They drove into the mountains and vanished. 8 days later, hunters found their truck abandoned on a remote dirt road. It was locked. There were no signs of a crash, no signs of a struggle. But inside the locked truck, police found something that made no sense. Their wallets, their IDs, their cell phones, and tucked under the seat, $32,000 in cash. Perhaps saddest of all, their small dog, Maisie, was found locked inside the truck. She was barely alive, having starved for over a week, waiting for a family that had simply walked away. Why would a family drive into the wilderness, lock their dog and their life savings in a car, and walk into the woods with nothing? The forest kept its secret for 4 years. Then, in November 2013, hunters stumbled upon skeletal remains just 3 miles from the truck. Bobby, Sherilyn, and little Madison. They were found lying side by side, face down in the dirt. Because of the decomposition, no cause of death could be determined. There were no bullet holes, no broken bones. The Jamison family didn't run. They didn't fight. The evidence suggests they simply walked into the forest in that same silent trance and laid down together in the dark to die. Story 3: The Hiker Who Was Left Behind. For many, the Appalachian Trail is a dream, a 2,200-mile journey of endurance and beauty. In 2013, a 66-year-old retired nurse named Geraldine Largay, known to her friends as Inchworm, was nearing the end of that dream. She was an experienced hiker, meticulously prepared. Her husband, George, met her at road crossings every few days to resupply her. She was safe. She was happy. On the morning of July 22nd, Geraldine stepped just a few yards off the trail to use the restroom. She didn't fall down a cliff. She wasn't taken by a predator. She simply turned around to walk back to the path, and it was gone. Disoriented, she tried to find her way back, but every step she took led her deeper into the dense, unforgiving Maine wilderness. At 11 a.m., she tried to text her husband. "In some trouble. Got off trail to go to BR. Now lost." The message never sent. The next day, she tried again. "Lost since yesterday. Off trail 3 or 4 miles. Call police for what to do, please." That message never sent either. What makes this story truly terrifying isn't just that she was lost. It's that she was alive. Geraldine didn't die that first night, or the second, or the 10th. While the largest search in Maine history was happening all around her, with aircraft, dogs, and hundreds of volunteers, Geraldine was sitting in her tent just 2 miles away from the trail, listening to them look for her. She survived for at least 26 days. Realizing that no one was coming, she eventually accepted her fate. She zipped up her tent, climbed into her sleeping bag, and wrote a final entry in her journal. It read, "When you find my body, please call my husband George and my daughter Carrie. It will be the greatest kindness for them to know that I am dead and where you found me, no matter how many years from now." Her body wasn't found for 2 years. She was discovered by accident by a forester just 10 minutes walking distance from a logging road. Geraldine Largay didn't vanish into thin air. She vanished into the silence of the woods, waiting for a rescue that was walking right past her.